Hey everyone, and welcome back. If you're like most people, then you probably have stock market investments in multiple brokerage sites or accounts. Maybe you have invested in some international markets, and if not, you almost certainly still hold something that pays a dividend or has had a stock split. And there's one thing that all of these have in common, and it's that they make tracking a portfolio's true performance an absolute nightmare. So today, I want to share with you, no pun intended, a service that not only can give you a true snapshot of your portfolio's performance, but will also likely save you a bunch of money at tax time, and that service is Sharesight. Personally, I've been using Sharesight to track the performance of my stock portfolio for over 4 years now, and in today's video, I'm simply going to go through on my computer and show you all of the features that are available to you if you are looking to use this to either save money at tax time and or to track the performance of your portfolio over time. I have also been partnered with Sharesight for almost 3 years now, bringing my audience a discount if you are interested in joining. Firstly, there's a free plan that allows you to track up to 10 stocks completely for free, and you can use that plan forever. It's not a free trial or anything, it's just a free plan. After that, there are 3 paid plan options with additional features, which I'll be showing you today. And using my link below, you can get 4 months off a yearly subscription. So use my link below or head over directly to sharesight.com/Hamish Hodder, and you can use that link to get a massive discount if you are interested in signing up after watching today's review video. Now, my regular viewers already know this, but if you're watching me for the first time or you haven't seen too much of me, then just be aware that I don't really promote much on my channel. In fact, the only affiliate partnership I have currently is with Sharesight, which, as I mentioned, I've been using for over 4 years now. So this isn't one review of many reviews that I do just to generate sponsorship income or affiliate income. I genuinely think Sharesight is a really, really good service. I've been using it for an extremely long period of time, and I'm really excited that I'm able to partner with Sharesight to bring my audience a discount. So if you're interested, I am biased because I really do like Sharesight, but I'm not biased in the way that I'm just doing this just for the money. I'm doing this because it really is a service that I've been using as a primary way to track my portfolio and to help me when it comes to tax time. But with that said, let's jump over to my computer and take a look at what you get access to if you join Sharesight. All right, so over on my computer now, we are in Sharesight. And I'm just going to go through and explain everything that you can basically do within Sharesight. Well, not everything, but at least some of the main features and all of the things that I use on a regular basis. So first of all, in terms of settings, there's a number of different things you can change. Oh, and by the way, this is just a YouTube demo portfolio. This isn't my actual portfolio. I just put a couple of stocks in here just so that there was something I could show you. But in terms of settings, you can obviously change the name of the portfolio. When you set up the portfolio, you're going to be selecting your tax residency. So that will adapt the tax settings depending on where you are located. You can change when the financial year ends because, of course, for Australian and New Zealanders, the financial year ends on the 30th of June, whereas other countries like the US will end on the 31st of December. You can adjust whether you calculate performance on a compounded or a simple basis. And then in terms of tax settings, you can set up whether you're an individual, self-managed super fund, or a company. And there's a couple of other settings such as alerts and portfolio sharing. Of course, one of the main things you will be doing when you have your Sharesight account is adding new holdings. And there's a few options that you have for adding holdings. So you can manually add them, which I'll show you in a second. You can add a cash account, so it will track your cash portfolio. And if you do have a cash account and then you add a trade, it will draw down, or you can choose to have it draw down the cash account so that it will calculate your ongoing cash account in your portfolio. But you can also import trades directly from a broker or an Excel file. So here are all of the associated brokers where you can connect your brokerage directly and have your trades come in directly. So all of the major Australian ones and a number of major international brokers as well. But even if your broker isn't listed here, then in your brokerage account, you will be able to download all of your trades as an Excel and then import them directly in here. In terms of importing trades manually, you simply put in the ticker symbol, and there's actually 36 different major stock exchanges that are supported. So there's a lot of stocks, and no matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to put investments into Sharesight. So you can select the company, it will tell you the latest price. You can select the day that you traded it on, whether it was today or a previous trade, a buy trade or an opening balance. And of course, you can do a sell trade once you have imported some stocks into your portfolio. You can put the quantity of shares you're buying or selling. You can select the price. It will also show you the price on that day if you just want an estimate. And then, of course, if you're buying shares internationally, you will be able to adjust the exchange rate that you paid on that and add the brokerage. And the exchange rate and the brokerage will all be accounted for in your return. So in other words, the brokerage will be subtracted from your return and included in your cost basis. So you're getting a true view of the cost of those investments. In terms of the front page of Sharesight, what you're looking at is performance from today back to any period that you want. So you can look at since first purchase, the current financial year, calendar year, last few months, whatever it is, the last 5 years, for example. And that way it will kind of show you a nice view of your performance over time. And there's a number of different charts that you can also look at. So you can use, so the first one will be your graph growth chart, which will show you growth over certain periods and what drove that growth, whether it was capital gains, dividends, or currency, or a combination of all of those. There's also a stacked graph that shows you the total value of your portfolio over time. You can look at graph lines. So if you have a number of groupings for your portfolio, like cash or American companies versus Australian companies, it will break them up like that. And then the last graph, which I use probably the most frequently, is the performance against an index. So you'll notice here you can add a benchmark, and you can select one of the pre-selected indices such as the ASX 50 or the iShares Small Ordinaries. But you can also just benchmark against anything. So say I wanted to benchmark my portfolio against Facebook stock, for example. You can again select from the list here, NASDAQ, Facebook, and you'll be able to compare your portfolio's performance on a compounded basis or a simple basis if you want to any stock or any indice that you want. Also, one other thing you'll notice here is you can include closed and opened positions. So if you do have this ticked, it means that if you have bought and sold the stock and made a return on that, part of that return or that return will be included in your overall overall count. If you untick it, it will only show you the stocks that are currently open in your portfolio and the return of those. If you scroll down a little bit, you will of course see the individual holdings in your portfolio, the current price, the quantity you hold, the value of them, and then the returns broken down into capital gains, dividends, and currency exchange, and then the total return there as well. And over on the far right, you'll see there's these little 1 and 17 and 9 numbers. What they relate to is the events that happen for the business. So for example, Johnson & Johnson pays a dividend. So every time that they pay a dividend, it is automatically pulled into Sharesight. So you don't have to manually enter every single dividend or every single stock split that happens. You simply have to come over to the side and just confirm it. So maybe that means you check your emails from your broker or going to the investor relations page of the company and just making sure that they have tracked it correctly. But in my experience over the past few years, Sharesight has never ever been incorrect with the investments that I'm looking at. So you simply click confirm and it will automatically track all of those for you. For Johnson & Johnson, we saw that it does track dividends, but it also tracks stock splits. So for something like Apple, if you had bought 100 shares, like in this example, in 2010, that would have been split in 2014 into 600 shares and then split in 2020 into 2,100 shares. So the total will be calculated for you. And again, that will be just another event that you need to confirm. If you were invested in a company or an index that does dividend reinvestment plans, then scrolling down to the corner here in holding settings will allow you to turn that on if you do have that activated. And again, it will calculate all of that for you. So as the dividends come in, it will total them up and then convert them into shares as you would be receiving them if you had dividend reinvestment turned on. And when you do turn on dividend reinvestment, there's a number of different options because there are different dividend reinvestment plans, such as round down, round up, round to the nearest. And the most common is round down and track balance, which means the company is taking the total number of dividends you receive and tracking that balance over time before reinvesting those dividends. And as you can see from this dummy investment in VAS, because we only had 30 shares, there actually hasn't been any reinvestment from the dividends that have been received. But of course, that is tracking the total balance. So eventually you will get one new share, just like you would if you had bought 30 shares of Vanguard. The only other major thing to think about on the side here is if you go to holding information, you can see your current cost basis on a total amount return basis, but also on per share basis, which is really, really valuable to understand, including brokerage, what your true cost per share is for this investment. So that's basically it in terms of tracking your portfolio and looking at returns. But then there is a major part of Sharesight, which is the reporting. So as you can see here, there are 11 different reports. And you won't get all of these if you're on some of the lower plans. Only all of these are available on the highest plan, and then the second and the third plans have kind of limited reporting where you get access to some of these. But these reports are broken up into performance insights for your portfolio and then tax and compliance. So the tax, of course, will be used when you're completing your tax return in terms of capital gains and dividend income. Now, I won't go through all of these here, and I actually don't use all of these all the time. So I'll just talk about some of the ones that I use regularly. Performance reporting is a really valuable one, so you can track performance over any period. So on the homepage, what you'll be tracking is performance from the current day back to whatever period you want. Whereas in the performance report, you can track any period at all. So if you want to check what your return was in 2018, for example, you can go back and do that. And of course, this is where you could calculate your compounded return over multiple years. Another one that is really useful is the future income report. So this will take your expected dividends that are coming in, say for whatever period you want to select, and it will show you what income you have coming in, say over the next 6 months or over the next year. So particularly if you have a dividend income portfolio or a dividend stock portfolio, I should say, this will be really valuable to see what kind of cash flow you're expecting from your investments. And then in terms of tax and compliance, there's two major reports that I use: the taxable income report and then the capital gains tax report. So taxable income will be available for pretty much anyone, whether you're in any country around the world using Sharesight. And this will allow you to calculate the amount of dividend income that you received from your stocks, which of course, in Australia at least, you need to report that on your tax return. And for Australians, for example, because I have Australia as my tax residency, you will notice that the income tax report setup is exactly the same as your tax return. So if you're doing your tax return yourself, each of these weird things, 10M, 11S, each of these represent a different line in your tax return. So you can easily just go through and input what is necessary for each of those lines, meaning it's extremely easy for you to do your own tax return for your investments. And the other one, as I mentioned, is capital gains tax report, which is of course when you buy a stock and you sell a stock and you make a profit on that, you of course need to report your capital gains. Now, this one is only available in Australia and Canada, so you can't get access to the capital gains reporting in other countries, but you will have access to other generic tax reporting depending on where you are. Again, sign up to a free account and you can just kind of check out what is available for you given your country. As I mentioned before, of course, this would make it a lot easier for you to do your tax yourself, but even if you do have an accountant, it will save your accountant a ton of time and therefore should save you some money to just provide this information to them rather than them having to manually go through all of your trades and work it out for themselves. You can use the PDF button here to download a copy of, say, your taxable income report as well as the capital gains report, and you can just print this off or email this to your accountant and they will be able to save a bunch of time by using this to do your tax return. And on top of all of this, you may very well be able to tax deduct the cost of a Sharesight subscription. So I can't confirm whether that's going to be necessarily applicable to you personally, but definitely check that with your accountant. And I know that in certain circumstances, it's definitely possible for you to tax deduct the cost of a subscription. In terms of pricing, as I mentioned, there are 4 different plans. There's a free plan where you can have 1 portfolio and 10 holdings, and you get access to some of the reports that I just showed you. And then there are 3 paid plans. So the starter, investor, and expert. And all of these 3 plans, if you do sign up to a yearly subscription using my link down in the description below, that's sharesight.com/Hamish Hodder, you will get 33% off that yearly subscription. Or of course, you can pay on a month-by-month basis and pay the full amount. Either way, use my link down in the description below. And regardless of whether you're on a free plan, a monthly paid plan, or a yearly paid plan, you'll be supporting the channel if you do use that link. And finally, here's a quick comparison of the different plans. So in terms of portfolios, you get 1 on the free and 1 on the starter, 3 on the investor plan, and 5 on the expert plan. Holdings are unlimited only for the 2 higher plans. And then in terms of the different reports, you can also check out some of the different things you get access to here. But in terms of the reports, on the free plan, you get access to performance, taxable income, historical cost, sold securities, all tax, capital gains. And then on some of the higher plans, you get access to some of the others, such as future income, diversity, contribution analysis, and multi-currency valuation, which is a brand new one that just got added. So again, head over to sharesight.com/Hamish Hodder if you are interested in joining. And when you do head over to that website, you will see that it is a special offer for followers of Hamish Hodder. If this doesn't show up, then just try the link again and it should come up. And that way you will save 4 months off or 33% when you sign up to an annual premium plan. If you do have any questions about Sharesight that maybe I didn't cover in this video, head down to the comment section and ask it down there. And I'll be answering questions around Sharesight and other things investor related if you want as this video goes live. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great day and I'll see you in the next video.